Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Rotary and Lions and Kiwanis and Optimists. We're glad to have you all with us today. Appreciate you all taking time to be here. So Rotary didn't meet last week. Many of you were attending Mayor Edmondson's funeral, and let's continue to keep his family in your prayers. And certainly he was a Rotarian, so for us, we certainly, and all of us in our community, want to look for ways to honor his memory. I think promoting unity and civility in all of our areas of service is certainly one way to do that. And just, if you look at his leadership style, leading by example and learning from the way he treated people. I mean, I think that's one of the things I will always remember is just the way he treated me and the way he made me and others feel. So just keep him and his family in your prayers. So we are really fortunate to have all the civic clubs together today. And so we have, so these organizations are led by Brandon Adams, who's not here, Eric Davenport. Eric, I think you had shoulder surgery just a few days ago, is that?
It was postponed.
Oh, okay. I was going to be really amazed. Okay, I'm glad you're here. And Ralph Howard is Optimist. We're glad to have you.
We have the Teacher of the Year speaking at the Optimist Club Monday, and anyone's invited. I made the Teacher of the Year from Georgia, who's the national finalist for the Teacher of the Year in the United States. It's a big occasion for us. So
sounds like a great program.
Just let us know so we can plan.
Okay. That sounds good. How about other clubs want to make a quick announcement? Anything on behalf of Lions?
Well, the Lions reunion committee will meet after this.
Okay. Okay.
Chip, I just want to say on behalf of our friends, thank y'all for letting us come today. We always look forward to this event, very special event. It seems like we just ate lunch together not long ago, but it's always good to get together as a group of city clubs to do work for the
Okay. Eric?
Yeah, we, again, our pancake breakfast is this weekend coming up, okay? We're gonna have the balloon guy there, the jungle bus, and for your car enthusiasts, we're gonna have antique show. Oh, so come out and join us if you can make time for your schedule.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, we're glad to have you here. Appreciate the good work you all are doing in the community. Look for ways to work together to continue to do good things in the future. It's always great to have Donald with us. Always entertaining. And we're looking forward to hearing from you today. It's a perfect lead in for the Storytelling Festival weekend. So we're looking forward to hearing about that. So before we go into our programs, I'd like to ask John Harold. John, where are you? John, if you would, please lead us in an invocation, and then we'll do our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pray. In the heart of this gathering, we discover the essence of our community, a space where our lives intersect and our journeys become intertwined. With gratitude, we acknowledge the strength that arises from unity. Each presence around each table adds to the vibrancy of our shared experiences, creating a collective energy that uplifts and empowers. We remember each member no longer with us, and we recognize that their contributions and impact on our community continue. We celebrate the diverse threads woven together to form this tapestry of truth, fairness, goodwill, friendship, and benevolence. We're grateful for the meal before us and the hands that prepared it.
Thank you, John. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Everybody know Angie? Angie's kind of the glue. She and Gage take excellent care of us each week, so thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to hold off on it. We've got a lot of guests, so we're going to hold off on introducing guests today. But just know, if you're here as a guest, we're glad to have you with us. We'd love to have you back. I'm sure Lions and Kiwanis and Optimists would love to have you join visit their clubs too. So please know there are places for you to visit during the week. I'll hold on birthdays and anniversaries for next week. A couple of announcements. Carrie, do you want to mention anything about literacy while you're?
I can just do it from here.
Yeah.
We have got, if you're interested in helping read to the pre-K students, I have all of the books and bags ready to pick up today, right after the meeting. If you can do that, and then we have several people that are already signed up, and I've got those ready for you as well. So if you can do that, that'd be awesome.
Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate this. A wonderful service project for us. Appreciate you coordinating that. What else? The program on STAR students and teachers is actually going to be held on March 27th. Really grateful to the school system for their flexibility and letting us move that. Last week, so many of us wanted to go to the funeral, so they let us move that back. So it's going to be on March 27th. I will let you all know we're going to have to work with them to announce the winner before March 27th, because there's a regional program that the winner needs to go to. So on Monday, March 4th, there's going to be a gathering at the Troup County Administrative Center for the school system, and we'll honor all the nominees, and we'll honor the winner for the county, and then they'll come in on the 27th and do their presentation for us. So just wanted to let you know, if you see an announcement in the paper, we're still doing the program, it's just we need to let them know first. So I sent out a note to my fellow Rotarians over the weekend. Nobody probably reads emails over the weekend, so I wanted to just go ahead and say it here. Connie's gearing up for her year, and I'm sure all the other civic clubs would appreciate this advice too. It's daunting to come up with 45 programs during the year, so I would encourage everybody, I guarantee everybody here has a good program in their back pocket. Somebody you know that's interesting, a corporate leader, or somebody doing a project that's relevant or interesting. So I just would encourage you, for Rotarians, let Connie and Steve know, because I'd love for everybody to bring some suggestions for them. And I just want to thank Jake and Jason and Kathy for helping with our programs this year. Got a minute? Happy Dollars. Who's happy today? What's going on in the community that people want to lift up? Sandra. And we welcome other civic clubs to participate in this too.
I got a 20. I'm very proud of all of my children, but especially my son Patrick, who's just been named the new city manager. Mama's very proud. And my son Brett, who is just about to run the Tokyo Marathon today.
Wow. John Harold, big congratulations to Patrick.
Thank you for the 20. The other 19, this one, to everyone who participated in the blood drive we had earlier this week, thank you, thank you, thank you. Holly's not here, but we met our goal, and we may have another one coming up, and I think we'll reach out to all of the clubs for that. So thank you so much.
Any other announcements or community activities for the good of group that anybody'd like to share? All right, if not, let's move on to our program. So I'm going to invite Carrie to come up and introduce our speaker today. Thank you.
I didn't mention the Azalea Storytelling Festival. It's pretty evident, and Donald is here. I don't really think he needs an introduction, but I'll give you a little one in case you haven't heard of him. Donald Davis was born in the southern Appalachian mountain world rich in stories. While he heard many traditional stories, he was most attracted to the stories of his own family and places of origin. He began retelling the stories he heard and then adding his own new stories to them until he was repeatedly asked, "Tell it again," on purpose. The author of 19 books, including his newest book, How They Linger, Stories of Unforgettable Souls, which will be on sale afterwards if you'd like to have one for $20. They do take credit cards and cash. And more than 40 original recordings. He's a recipient of the Circle of Excellence of Lifetime Achievement Awards from the National Storytelling Network. With the support of Donald, the inaugural Storytelling Festival became a reality in Azalea in March of 1997. He has since remained a steadfast friend and mentor, contributing his guidance, support, and expert performances in the LaGrange community. We not only have Donald in the summer, or for the Storytelling Festival, we also have him for a storytelling workshop each July. And this will be the third year we see him in December for Deck the Halls with Donald Davis at LSPA. Please join me in welcoming Donald Davis.
Well, thank you, Carrie. This is a wonderful week. I spent this morning with second graders at Hillcrest School, so we've had a good start for the day today. When I was a little boy, I grew up in Waynesville, North Carolina, and we went to the Methodist Church every Sunday. But I never gave up. We get up on Sunday morning to sit down for breakfast, and I'd say, "What are we going to do today?" My daddy would say, "Don't you know what day it is?" I'd say, "Yes, it's Sunday. There's no school. What are we going to do?" He'd say, "We're going to church." And I'd say, "We went last week." He'd say, "We're going again, because, you know, if we're not there, they won't really have church. And I think, well, let's stay home and give everybody a break. No, it never worked that way. At our house, Sunday always unrolled exactly the same way. Only on Sunday, my mama fixed pancakes for breakfast. And then after we'd have our breakfast, my little brother and my daddy and I would go start getting ready to go to Sunday school, while mama would see if she could completely fix our Sunday dinner and slide it in the refrigerator so that when we got back home after 3 or 4 semesters at church, we'd be able to eat before we flat out starved to eat. And then we'd get in the car and we'd head into town. Now, the first hour was Sunday school, and that was not bad if you were a little kid. Because if you had a dime for the offering, and you could remember one new Bible verse, you got to play the rest of the hour. And then we get out of Sunday school, and my little brother Joe and I'd meet up, and we'd try to figure out whose turn is it? Whose turn is it to give it a try this time? With the big question. Do we have to stay for big church? There was only one answer from my mama. Yes, go to the bathroom. I don't need to go to the bathroom. Go anyway. I just went. Go again. I can't. Try. Because see, back in those days, we were only allowed to do 2 things in church. Behave. And that did not include running back and forth to the bathroom. I knew we could float out of church on Noah's second flood, and we would still never be officially excused to go to the bathroom. We go to church now, and we watch little kids, wearing trails in the carpet, back and forth, in and out, in and out. I think, where are your parents? Being Methodist, I never have thought a whole lot about the rapture, but one day it occurred to me that, if the rapture happens, I hope it happens while all those children are out there in the bathroom. When they come back in, everybody's gone, and they missed the whole thing because they weren't behaving. They were in the bathroom instead of being when they were behaving. But we knew how to behave. Now, we come in on Sunday morning, there's some lost books and some lost chapters in the Bible. They used to be around, but they disappeared through the years. And one of those lost chapters is chapter 51 in the book of Genesis. You look at the book of Genesis now, and it's only got 50 chapters in it. Well, it used to have 51. That one got lost. That was the chapter in which Adam assigned all families in unchangeable perpetuity their immovable seats in church. Because you know as well as I do, if you go and you sit in the wrong seat, you don't even get credit for being there. And Adam had assigned our family the 4th row from the front on the right-hand side, right next to the big window that had the dead Atkins family's names in it. I can tell you that James Brenner Atkins died on December the 19th, 1923, because I read that in that window every Sunday. Now, it would always come in the same order. They bring my little brother Joe in first, and then keep us as separated as possible. And then my daddy would come in next, and he would sit there with his left hand on my little brother's right knee. See, my dad was born in 1901, and he was too old to be in the Second World War. But for what was called his home defense duty, he took Red Cross training, and he taught Red Cross emergency first aid classes so that if the Germans on their way to Oak Ridge, Tennessee got to Haywood County, we'd know how to patch each other up. So that meant he knew every pressure point in the human body. And he would sit there with that hand on my little brother's knee. And if that little child did anything untoward, my daddy could go, and I'd have a crippled brother for about 4 days. My mama would come in next, and daddy would sit there with his arm around her like he loved her. But mostly so that when I came in last, he was ready for my shoulder, right? Now, we were sitting there one Sunday, and back in those days, we did not have air conditioning in church because that would have actually made it comfortable. And in the fall of the year, you know, when it started out cool in the morning, and then it warmed up as the morning went along, if it got a little too hot in church, one of the ushers could slip down on the side, and each of those big old windows had a little chain. And you could pull that little chain, and a big section of that window would open up, you know, and let the air come in and cool us off a little bit. Well, it got a little hot that Sunday. It was maybe about the 1st of October, and Hardy Nolan was ushering, and he came easing down the side, and he got up to the Ned Atkins window. He pulled that little chain, and that window opened up, and hiding outside that window, waiting, was a heathen yellow jacket. And that heathen yellow jacket came sneaking in that window, sneaking around behind me. I had my arm up over the end of that pew like I was big. And that heathen yellow jacket came up over my shoulder and landed right there on that little finger and just stung the Methodist out of me. And I just showed it to my mom. And she said, shh. And I hadn't said anything. I said, I got stuck. Shh. It hurts. Shh. I need to go out. Shh. I'm trying to listen to the sermon. And I had to sit there for the rest of that endless Methodist hour, watching my fingers swell up to be 3 times as big as it was born to be and change colors over and over again. And when we got home after that, the totality of first aid treatment I got was one little drop of spit on my mama's finger stuck in the baking soda box and then held on that finger. I said, Mama, why didn't you let me go outside when I got stung? She said, we don't leave church for frivolous reasons. I said, it wasn't frivolous, it hurt. She said, it would have hurt just as much on the outside as it hurt staying in there. I said, yes, but if I'd been allergic, I could have died. And my mother, who gave birth to me, looked at me and she said, that would have been fine. Because if you had died in church, you might have gone straight to heaven. And that might be your only chance, little mister. And that was the end of that whole conversation. Well, time went on, and I got to be about 10 or 11 years old, and I learned one day some real important information from the big boys. The big boys told me just hang on, because they said at our church, if you're a boy, when you were 13 years old, your family was tired of you. And if you were a boy, when you were 13 years old, you got to go sit up in the balcony with the rest of the boys who were 13 and over and not stay downstairs with your family anymore. And I just lived waiting for that time to come along. I finally turned 13, and that very Sunday, we got up to church and went in the back door, and I headed toward the balcony stairs. My mama said, where are you going? I said, I'm going up in the balcony. She said, why? I said, because I'm 13 years old and you're tired of me. She said, well, that's right, but now what does that have to do with it? I said, Mama, don't you know, it's almost like a rule in our church. If you're a boy, when you're 13, you don't have to stay downstairs with your family anymore. Only girls do that. When you're a boy, when you're 13, you get to go sit up in the balcony. She did not even waste the word no. She just shook her head and pointed to the 4th row from the front. I said, Mama, give me one reason I can't go sit up in the balcony. She said, I'll give you 2. Jimmy Woodard and Eddie Weatherby. I said, what have they got to do with it? She said, horseplay. They get up there and their parents can't see them and they get into horseplay. Don't you remember when they got into horseplay in the middle of the offering one Sunday and they knocked that offering plate off of the edge of the balcony and it came down through there slinging money everywhere and it hit Dr. Nick Medford right in the middle of his bald head and you could still see the dent in his head. I said, Mama, that doesn't have anything to do with me. She said, I think it does. And that was the end of that. And that's when I figured out why nobody else sat on the pew with our family, because it was being saved by my mama for our eventual wives and children. Well, that year rolled along when I was 13 years old. And when summertime came, we got a new minister at conference time. His name was Mr. Brendall. But my daddy had nicknames for all of our ministers. Most of those nicknames I cannot share with you. But I can tell you what he called Mr. Brendall. He called him Old Push-Up. See, Mr. Brendall had bad vision and new bifocals. And he could see right here, and he could see right out there, but he couldn't see right here. And he would write out his sermons and read them in church. And so in church, when it was time for the sermon, he'd stand up and he'd get up and get a hold of the pulpit in push-up position. And then he'd go down and read a little bit, come up and say it out loud. Go down and read a little bit, come up and say it out loud. All the way through, he's up and down, up and down. My dad said, look at old push-up, watch him go, watch him go. Well, it was about the 1st of December, and the sermon was just starting, and all of a sudden, there was a little tiny smell like something was burning. An old push-up smell must have been as bad as his vision, because he never smelled it. He just kept going. And in about 5 minutes, little wisps of white smoke were coming up out of the baseboard along below the windows on the side. And behind us, the Jennings family got up and left. Well, that smoke kept coming, and it got up to about the level where everybody was sitting. And the Medford family, Dr. Nick with the dent in his head, they got up and left. And the smoke started spreading out across through the congregation. And in front of us, the Hammonds, Dr. Frank and Dr. Doris, they were both doctors. They gathered up their children, and they left because they knew they were indispensable. And about that time, my mama leaned down and she said, let's go. And I looked up at her and I said, shh. She said, something's on fire. Shh. We need to leave. Shh. I'm trying to listen to the sermon. And she gathered up my daddy and my little brother, and they climbed over me and left me in there. I wouldn't have left that place for anything on the face of this earth. By the time the firemen got there, old Push-Up and I were the only 2 people left in the whole place. It was just all full of smoke everywhere. Well, here's what they found. Down under the sanctuary, in an old superannuated Sunday school room, that's where they had stored all the Christmas decorations in big old corrugated boxes. And that morning they were dragging out all the Christmas decorations, and from the Sunday school days, there was an old open flame gas heater in there, and somebody lit it up and never turned it off. And after they got those decorations out, they started just shoving boxes back in the door, shoving boxes in the door. It was a good thing it was closed up tight in there, because there wasn't enough air for it to actually burst into flames. It just turned a whole bunch of corrugated cardboard black and made a whole lot of white smoke. So everything was fine till we got home. And we got home and I started looking at my mama. I thought about learning that if you didn't go get your tetanus shot, you'd get lockjaw. Because all of a sudden she said, what in the room you for? She said, what got into you? I said, you did. You taught me we don't leave church for frivolous reasons. She says, it was not frivolous. There was a fire. I said, no, Mama, there was not a fire. It was just a lot of smoke. She said, yes, but if it had been a real fire, we could have all died. I said, that would have been fine, Mama. Because if we'd all died in church, we might have all gone straight to heaven, and that might be our only chance. She said, I do not think that's the way it works. Well, not another word was said about that. But Sunday came and we headed for church. We went up in the back door, and without saying one single thing, my daddy tapped me on the shoulder and pointed to the balcony stairs. And I went up, and they stayed down, and the whole world was happier after Let me tell you just a tiny word about the festival this weekend. This is it our 27th or 28th year? Our 28th year. And the Isaiah Storytelling Festival truly is one of the top 5 storytelling festivals in this country. It is just amazing, and people come from farther and farther to be here. We have 4 tellers. I will be here. Bill Lepp, the championship liar from West Virginia, will be here. Reggie Carpenter, who will be new for us in LaGrange, will be here. And sadly, we had Josh Goforth scheduled, and Josh got sick this morning. But we have replaced him with Paul Strickland. And Paul will tell stories about his Aunt False and Aunt True and Uncle False. And he's quite enjoyable and also a musician, and we're very fortunate that we could pull him right in to fill in for Josh, who was sick. We'll be at Callaway Auditorium Friday evening, all day Saturday and Saturday evening, and for Sacred Stories Sunday morning. Just Google Isaiah Storytelling, and you'll get the whole schedule there. Thank you for having me here today. I hope I'll see you this weekend. So.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for choosing LaGrange. I mean, you have absolutely changed our community over the last 28 years, and you just bring wonder and joy everywhere you go. So we're pleased to have you with us. Wish you good luck this weekend and the rest of the week, and we look forward to seeing you back here this time next year. So you've been here before, so you know this, but we're going to make a donation to Polio Plus in your honor. It's Rotary's international focus on eliminating polio worldwide. So a couple of quick announcements. For the presidents of Kiwanis and Lions, we're going to have a meeting with the general manager of the club right after this, and maybe a few others, talking about potential technology for the club, for Highland Country Club. We do have some good programs coming up, just to let you know. March 6th, Kim Jones, the executive director of NAMI Georgia, which is the National Alliance on Mental Health, is going to be with us. March 13th, Chris Lutz, general manager of Callaway Gardens, is going to be here. March 20th, Sarah Morrison, the CEO of Shepherd Center, is going to be with us. And then on March 27th, we'll have that program on the Start Student and Teachers. So again, I appreciate you all making today a priority for you, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. Thank you.